My people, full moon is almost in Pisces. I'm on 20% battery charge. So if this cuts out, just know that it's to do with my power or the power of the Piscean age, the power of Pisces. Because Pisces is coming to a wrap. It's going to sleep. It's been awake for apparently a couple thousands of years. It's had its time. It's had its heyday. And now it's time to retire. That's what happens in astrology, just as it happens on Earth in each and every one of our lives. And as such, of course, look at the Piscean age or the Pisces age as patronage, being patronized. What do you think of when you think of such a word? Particularly as you become a master yourself. You may think your elders, you may think your boss, you may think your parents even. And you see, everybody needs a master because that's what a patron is ultimately. A patron is a master, right? And when you were a babe, you needed a patron. You needed a parent. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here watching this video, nor would I be making this video if it wasn't for our parents or our patrons. So they were chosen by the universe, or even, shall I say, by ourselves, to patronize us, to have patronage over us, to master us, to mold us into a certain being so that we are sufficient enough to exist on this plane. So we have to give props to our parents or patrons. But as I said, there comes a time when you become a master, when there is no need to have a master. And so your patrons, they simply go to rest. They've done their job. They have successfully brought you to a place where they can now leave you. Think of the Lion King. Just think of the Lion King and the African tradition. This whole idea of succession further out than Africa, of course. Throughout the whole world, you see it, where sons and daughters take over their parents, where they take place of the parents and now look after the parents. Because once the parents looked after them and now it's our turn to return the favor. That's balancing. So we now, in a sense, lead them. Not necessarily by wisdom, but by good deeds. Because you are aware that they looked after you and they covered you once upon a time. They were your patrons after all. And for those of you that did not grow up with your biological parents or patrons, you certainly had a patron. It's not possible for you to exist here without a patron. It would be like a jungle bunny. But there is a wisdom, there is a essence about you that is only possible through patronage. But for some reason, we don't like to be patronized, do we? Especially us younger, rebellious lot. We like our independence. We like our sense of self. We don't like to listen to the parents. The parents don't know what they're talking about. Yet they were speaking when you couldn't. Oh, look at the moon. That is the moon in Pisces. The full moon is in Pisces, not in Virgo. And as I said, with all the alignments taking place at the moment, this is very significant, this full moon in Pisces, because Pisces is now the patron. They are now the parent. They are now the grandparent. They are now the ancestor. I say they because energy is everything. We are is getting old. And as it says in the book, you cannot put new wine into old wineskins. And so, although we embrace and appreciate the Piscean age, we are now moving into another age, a new age, they say. But in actual fact, it's old because it's happened time and time again. We're simply just shifting into a new experience. And with that new experience, guess what? Me and you will become the patrons. Some of us are patrons already. We have kids of our own. And so we are patronizing people ourselves. There's always going to be patronization, if that's a word. But why is it we don't like it? Maybe it's because we know innately we are ourselves patrons. We are masters. And yet we need to be mastered because we've been somehow tricked into a field where we have to relearn, where we have to discover, where we have to connect everything again. Yet we have always been connected. It's just that our egos tricked us into believing otherwise. So we needed to have patrons to usher us into the place where we can now independently sift through our ego and know what. So you have to really give thanks and praise to the Most High for your patrons, for the patronage that you were granted. Because a patronage is almost like a grant, it's almost like a gift. So you were gifted two beings, or even one, because one can do it. But in my case, I was gifted two beings to look after me and to bring me to a certain place where I can feel a sense of self, where my sacral chakra is developed enough to go forth, where my solar plexus is built up enough to shine. That's the place where the patrons need to get you to. The patrons need to get you to the third chakra or fourth. I'm not sure which is the solar plexus, but basically the sun, S-U-N, hence S-O-N as in sun, is, solar plexus, sun plexus, your soul plexus. So basically the name of the game as a patron, whoever you are out there, is to get the person you are patronizing to a point where they have a solar plexus that's healthy. That's basically the role of a parent or patron, to help you get to that point of the third or fourth chakra, I don't know, but it's before the heart anyway. So that gateway by the heart, before the heart, that's where your patron leads you to. Then only you can go through the heart by yourself, one person. No more than one person can go through the heart gate. So your parents can't go through the heart gate with you. Hence, if you look at all the masters, when they ascended or when they went through a certain gate, they either went into a cave or a desert, spent months there, or they left their parents' house. They couldn't go through with anyone. They had to go by themselves, because that's basic. I'm getting a channel from Pisces, by the way, because that's basically the heart. Only yourself can go through the heart chakra, and that's why a lot of people resist it. Many are called, few are chosen. A lot of people get the opportunity to walk through that particular gateway, but they refuse to because they are afraid. It's very scary. It is very scary. Not hocus pocus, but it could be. But to go through the heart chakra is you have to build yourself, and you will be molded and refined. You will be Saturnized by the heart chakra. So that's basically you as a patron, or your patrons. They get you to the solar plexus, and then from the solar plexus to the heart and beyond, it's yourself. Along the way, you'll meet your twin flame or your soulmate, your divine partner, you name it, whatever you want to call it. These are just labels. And even me talking about it in a sense is ignorance, because you can't express it in words ultimately, but I'm trying my best. So, really respect your patron.
Yeah. As I said, my phone was going to cut off and it actually did, so I apologize for that. So as I was saying, in regards to your patrons, when you become a master yourself, you become a patron. Guess what? You have graduated. So I was talking about the fact that you have to get through a certain degree, that particular degree being the heart, that heart chakra, that gateway, that abundance, that particular channel you have to go through. You can't go through there with anyone else. You have to go through there yourself, because that's your sense of self. Why do you think most portraits you see around the world of Jesus, it's always him holding, it's always him pointing to his heart? He's always pointing to the sacred heart, because the heart is sacred. So anyone and everyone in your life, anything and everything in your life can only bring you to a certain point. And when your solar plexus, when all the lower chakras, the 1 to 4, remember, I can put this on a timeline from 1 to 9 if we're talking numerologically here. From 1 to 4, the lower chakras, you have been built up. And then from 5, the heart, where you have to go through yourself, where you have to be crucified, where you have to get your 33rd degree, if we're talking Freemasonry here. When you go through 5 and you are a Freemason, you now go from 6 to 9. And then you get to 9 completion. That's when you are God. You're literally God. You're one with God. Everything we do in religion, all the praying, all the rituals, you name it, everything we're doing is trying to get us to that 9. That 144,000, that mark of the beast. Notice that the 144,000 and 666 are both the same value. 9. 1 plus 4 plus 4 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals 9. 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 9. So that's the completion, the revelation, the ending, the tribulation. All the eschatology, however you want to pronounce it, who cares? It's all to do with completion. So as patrons, and anyone who has a patron, you have to understand that this is all an initiation. This is all a process. Think of your life and yourself as Jesus or any other master in the temples of Egypt, going through lessons of life and earning degrees. This is where this whole, concept and template of Freemasonry comes from. It all comes from those times, Egypt. All ourselves who were alive in those times, we went through our initiation periods then. But for whatever reason, we didn't ascend. And if we did ascend, we only came here to be volunteers to help others ascend. So we've all been through this before. We've all been through degrees. Look at universities, look at the American law system, look at everything. It's all based on Egypt. It's all based on the mastery and the rooms that were around for us to learn certain disciplines in life. And you can take it literally, you can take it figuratively. Doesn't matter. It is what it is at the end of the day. So, your patrons, i.e. your parents, are your professors. They are your gurus. They are your masters. They are your employers. You have to remember that. So respect your patrons, because one day you will be a patron and you will hopefully have mastered yourself and got through that gateway of the heart chakra to where others who need to get through there can come to you, so you can help prepare them to go through their 40 days and nights in the desert in order to get through to their heart, so that when they get to their crucifixion, they have been built up well enough in their lower chakras up to the solar plexus, so that when they do resurrect, they'll be shining bright forth on a sun day. So peace and love to everyone out there. Enjoy the full moon. If you feel a bit odd, feel a bit out of sorts, like myself, I came home from work earlier, had some food, chilled a bit, went bed before 6 and I've woken up before 12. I've finished my sleep. I don't sleep that much anymore. I'm not in the third dimension as such anymore. So it's like after midnight now, and I've got till 7 a.m. to get up again for work. So I'll probably be chilling. I'll probably do another. Actually, yeah, no, I won't do something else. I'm just gonna chill. But it's all to do with the full moon. The full moon is probably happening right now. It's happening at 10 to 1 Greenwich Mean Time. So as I'm speaking, we're probably going through the full moon. The moon is full, let's just say, but officially they're saying it's 0051, which is a 6, may I add. So enjoy the full moon. Don't get too crazy. And don't be moonshining. Peace.